Is this for real?
Told you.
Superhero conspiracies?
.com.
It says I'm a deformed mutant.
You're not.
And some doof calling himself Speedball is the coolest thing since the Ultimates?
And this is going to haunt you.
Yes it is.
Keep reading.
Well, some guy named RPB says...
That's the one.
...that the Latverians have secretly developed a biotactical legion.
Uh-huh.
That sounds a whole lot like the guy that smacked me around last night.
Well, there you go then.
Jeez. The Latverians have some armored goon busting into labs and stealing things. Maybe I should go check it out.
Or we could go to the movies.
Hold on. I have another call.
Rooftop, now.
This is my life.
Kid.
This is a real intrusion.
I need you to back off the Latverian thing.
Why?
Sorry, kid. 18 and older.
What does that mean?
It means I need you to back off.
Yeah, okay, fine. But this is my life. Don't come here.
Thanks, kid.
General, do you think he'll behave?
Knowing Peter Parker the way I do, I'm absolutely sure that he will do the exact opposite of what I just asked him to do.
18 and over? How does he think he is? Great. Yeah, this is exactly what I need in my life right now. Then again, it has been almost 2 hours since I last feared for my life.
Hello everyone and welcome to the penultimate video of Ultimate Spider-Man. In case you can't tell, this open world Spider-Man game is a bit different in that it does not have any indoor sections. Or rather, it doesn't have any indoor levels, I should say. It does have a couple of boss fights that take place indoors, but that's not quite the same thing. And if you notice that I'm swinging around like I'm kind of drunk, this is not unintentional. You'll probably also notice that Goblin is hurling fucking fireballs all over the place, and swinging around like I'm drunk is how I avoid those. This chase is not nearly as difficult or as exciting as the one with the Beetle, but Goblin also doesn't put nearly as many people in danger, and he doesn't make blue walls appear. It's really hard to beat the best, but at least he tries. You'll notice that he manages to get way further away from us than Beetle, and that's because goddamn does he move fast. But since he's the only thing you have to focus on and he regularly stops to throw fireballs at you, it's not all that bad. He does have the habit of leaping around in a couple of areas that are difficult to latch onto with webbing, but that's what the web zip is for instead of the swing. I believe this chase is also significantly shorter than the one with Beetle. But I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, because half of this game is chases. I mean, we're still not all done with them. And I would say that's actually a good decision. I mean, when you look back at the game, it seems weird that you spend so much time chasing after people, but with the enhanced movement, it makes a lot of sense. I guess you could easily make the argument that there should be more fighting in it, but honestly, I'm glad that they didn't sacrifice the story for the sake of including more combat. That would have been a little weird.
Those people are gonna be crushed if I don't get them out of there. I don't get it. What's going on? Why is he doing this?
So this is the one and only time that the Goblin puts people in danger, but he's a lot better at it than any of the other characters because he throws fireballs at you the whole time, and they hurt, and they home in on you to boot. Immediately after this is the fight with him, so how much damage you take here really matters because it can fuck you over big time. That being said, the upcoming fight with him isn't that bad, it just takes a little bit of getting used to, let's say. They try to trick you into thinking the chase is going to go on a bit longer, but it's actually done now.
Aw, where'd he go? I hate it when this happens, because every time this happens, something even worse happens about 2 seconds.
This game has a problem that a lot of Spider-Man media seems to have, where they forget that the spider sense is a fucking thing, so that way everybody can sneak up on Spidey. Anyway, this was one of the hardest fights in the game for me, until I figured out what was going on. Goblin here has 2 attacks. He can throw fireballs at you, and he can leap at you, and that's pretty much it. The leap, easy as cake, you just jump out of the way, and you have plenty of time to react. Now, as for the fireballs, those infinitely fucked me up when I played this game the first time. And it turns out that's because I was jumping way too soon. Do not jump as soon as your spider sense starts to tingle. Do not jump as soon as he throws the fireball. Jump when the fireball gets near you. As long as you can keep in mind that you need to put a very slight delay on your jumping reactions, then this fight is a piece of cake. But that slight delay is important, because these home in on you. And if you jump too early, then they will go right up in your butthole. Now, as for going on the assault, that's a lot simpler. Sometimes Goblin will throw 2 fireballs in quick succession, and after that, he is now vulnerable. If you manage to attack him quickly enough, you can get in 2 full combos, and our combos have 5 hits in them now. And the reason it's important to attack him quickly is because how quickly you attack him directly influences what animations he goes into. If you attack him immediately after he stops, being on fire, then you can knock him over and start a second combo. But if you attack him too late, then he'll just start catching fire again after the first one. And of course you can't actually hurt him while he's on fire. Thankfully touching him doesn't hurt you, but trying to punch him while he's on fire is really stupid. But really, the only important thing you need to remember for this fight is that delay on your jump. If you can remember to delay your jump, then you're good. Everything else is tertiary.
Getting irritated. I'm just gonna keep hitting you until you give up. This needs to stop, right? I have now officially run out of ways to say ow.
And now, this ends!
I agree. What is this again?
So the second half of the fight is both easier and harder than the first at the same time, if you can believe that. It's easier because he jumps around like an idiot, and that's really easy to dodge. All you have to do is hold down that jump button and you'll clear his shockwaves no problem. And just like before, it's very obvious when he's vulnerable. And now for the hard part, he still throws fireballs sometimes, and unless you move to the very back of the room, you will not have enough time to dodge them. So yeah, it's not all that bad when you figure out what to do. You just jump out of the way when he's jumping like an idiot, and you jump out of the way when he throws his fireballs like before. Just put distance between yourself and him. Interestingly enough, there is a third component to this fight that we'll see again later. Depending on where Goblin jumps at, he can actually catch part of the room on fire. For example, he can also catch the stage on fire by landing on it. And that's kinda cool, but it doesn't influence the fight very much. It might if we were a less agile character, but literally all we have to do is jump up and down and we'll be able to dodge everything. So yeah, actually pretty easy all things considered. But this game is very simple, very arcadey in comparison to Spider-Man 2, and I like that about it.
Please stop doing that. How much harder do I need to...
I want a genetic suppressor collar on Osborn 3 minutes ago. Get this area sealed off inside of 10 seconds or I'll fire the first son of a...
You with Fury?
Good job here. Could you have made a bigger mess?
No. And believe me, I tried.
You've got some mouth on you.
Wow. You'd think you'd be a teeny bit nicer considering I just did your job for you.
I require a sample.
So I bet you didn't see another chase coming, or maybe you did. You might wonder why we're chasing Beetle when Beetle wants a sample of us, and he's trying to lead us somewhere. So don't worry, there is a reasonable explanation for this. And this is normally the part where I talk about the chase and what's different about it and how to succeed. But this is the easiest chase in the game, and I'm not even paying attention to anything but the arrow. Normally I would suggest things like, oh, you should stay on top of the building so that way you don't lose track of him, and that way you don't waste time rubbing your face on the sides of buildings trying to jump up him. But not only is that not necessary, but the chase is so short. We're seriously like 20 seconds away from it being finished. So basically what I'm saying is, if you have trouble with this chase, then I really can't help you. Welcome to the second fight against the Beetle, and this one is easier because we are playing as Venom, and because we are playing as Venom, we don't really have any good air attacks. The game accounts for this by giving Beetle 2 laser blades, with which he will charge directly at us like an idiot. And you might have guessed that when Beetle charges directly at us like an idiot with his laser blades, that's the ideal time to attack. I understand some people would probably still have trouble with this because the Beetle does move towards you rather quickly and even swerves around as he does it. This is why I recommend smashing the triangle button instead of trying to aim. As long as you're facing the general direction of the guy when he starts flying at you, then sure, you've got this in the bag, don't worry about it. It would be kinda cool if we could leap into the air and grab Beetle down with our giant meaty hands, but I guess that might make Venom a little bit too overpowered. Speaking of Venom being overpowered, when you play as him, he feels like a force of absolute destruction, but when you're fighting him, he's kinda a pushover. So now we're trapped inside Beetle's blue walls, and if we fall down the pits, we take consistent damage. While we're in here, Beetle will fly around and shoot grenades that we can easily avoid by moving left or right, and sometimes he will stop in front of one of the pits to shoot a bigger laser at us. This bigger laser hurts a lot, and we can either jump over it or attack him when he lands. I prefer attacking him when he lands. Or rather, when he hovers lower, as I guess the case is. It's easy to follow him and figure out exactly when he's about to use the attack. After he repeats this pattern enough times, he switches to the third phase of the fight. And that means he opens up yet more holes in the floor. This means we can only move around the very center of the room, but it also means that Beetle only uses one attack. And it's that one where he flies right at us. If we deal too much damage, he will attempt to use a shockwave like all of the other bosses Venom fights, but this doesn't hurt very much and you can easily jump over it. So for most of this final phase, you just smash the triangle button, which really, that feels appropriate. Man, can you believe it's already the penultimate video? I knew this game was short, but holy shit, this game is short.